All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a well-served artist fireside chat with Signalnoise. This is your host, Decryptolorian, or as many of you know me as DC. We are going to have an amazing chat with one of the coolest people I've recently met, who has designed some incredible things, as you can see on my screen. So please jump on my screen for just a sec. We're going to do some fun stuff. And welcome, Signalnoise. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
All right, perfect. Hey everybody, yo DC, thank you very much for having me on the on this stream, on this fireside chat, and thank you everybody for dropping in and being so lovely with your welcomes. I really do appreciate it. Should I introduce myself like proper?
Absolutely. Give us the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing. All right, everybody strap in. Yeah, as DC said, my name is James White and I run a studio called Signalnoise out of Newcastle upon Tyne over in the UK. I'm originally Canadian. I'm from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada, right on the East Coast, and I moved over here about a year ago. And yeah, I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, visual artist, whatever the hell you want to call me, and I make artwork that is doused and infused with neon 80s goodness. So I like hot pink, I like lined sunsets, I like Tron grids, and you know my pursuit of art has always been just to make cool stuff, and that has been my my pursuit for my entire life. And yeah, and I've been doing this. I've been a professional designer, I guess, for since 1998, whatever the hell that math is, like 23 years. But I've been a freelancer since 2010, so 11 years. And yeah, just having a good time, and just trying to produce the kind of art that I want to create for people willing to hire me to create it.
Wow, that is one heck of an intro. We all are very excited to be here. We have quite a number of people in the stream. One of our highest number of people in the stream. That's fantastic. And
Wow.
those of you who are watching my screen, you'll notice some very interesting stuff if you're a gamer or if you listen to some of the music that I do. You know, I tend to agree with you. I love the hot pinks. I love the 80s, 80s kid all the way. So yeah, tell us about some of your. Actually, why don't we have you share your screen first before we go into that?
Oh, sure, man. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can do this now. You know, we had some technical foibles, everybody, before we got going here. So I'm just gonna see if I can do this proper. So let me know if that's okay.
Dang, we nailed it.
Yeah, all right. They told us the internet will hold us back. No way.
Yeah, they can't hold us down. Okay, yeah. So your screen is fully shared. Those of you who aren't looking at it, please do, because you're going to miss out. And tell us what we're seeing here.
All right. So, like I said, my studio is named Signalnoise, and I founded this name back in 1999. And but way back when I just wanted to make my own little corner of the internet to post my drawings on and whatnot, and it evolved into my full-fledged studio. And that's what you're seeing here. So these are a lot of the client work that I've done, and there's some personal work in there. I'll just bring up the info page, and these are some of the clients that I've had the pleasure of working with over the years. So you'll recognize some people in there like Twitch and Metallica and Muse, the city of Las Vegas and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. These are the clients that like kind of highlight reel, but I kind of pride myself on the personal art that I do, because if I didn't do the personal illustration work on my own time, you know, evenings, weekends, whatever, that wouldn't have attracted the attention of clients that I just showed, and I wouldn't have been hired on to do those. So there's a point in my career where the training had stopped and the kind of personal exploration began, and that's what evolved into the studio that I run today named Signalnoise. So what we're seeing here is a lot of these, like I said, this is a scatter shot of client work and personal work, And I'll just bring up an example like this one here. I was hired to do a Metallica tour poster.
Wow.
And, and what I wanted to do, and I mean, this is a specific story to a specific job, but when I was hired to do this by my man, Tim Doyle over in Austin, Texas, Nakatomi Inc., I said, Metallica's like, I'm not a massive like Metallica fan. It's not because I don't like them. It's just because I haven't really gotten into them yet. So I didn't want to do something that was just black and white with a skull on it because that's all kinds of metal. So I thought like, can I get like hot pink Iron Maiden and try to like swindle Metallica into passing it? And sure enough, like every one of these posters goes by the band and they approved it. So you see a little bit of like Iron Maiden influence in this Metallica stuff. So that's kind of, again, that's a specific example, but this is the kind of work that I enjoy doing. And it's the kind of like taking an existing idea or template and trying to bend it into something that is fun and a little bit unique and a little bit more me. I think every artist has a little bit of themselves in their work, to quote that Blade Runner 2049 scene. And everything that I do, I try to put a little bit of my personal preference into it because that's what clients are hiring us to do, right? And that's something that I kind of don't want to flee from. Is the fear of kind of exploring the things that I want to explore and trying to put a little bit of myself and a little bit of my preference into that. This is another example, and it's I was hired to do some box art for Hasbro, and this is Destro. It's a specific kind of Destro. It's Profit Director Destro, and it's all the toy nerds here would notice this is Pimp Daddy Destro from way back in like
yeah.
Yeah, and I was hired by Destro to do some box art for them, and you'll see like there's my illustration that appears on the actual box that was released mid last year. And again, this doesn't look like G.I. Joe crap at all, right? Like this, and when they hired me to do it, I was like, I'm gonna do something like this. I'm gonna put like sunglasses on them and everything else. It's like this isn't gonna get by. There's no way this is gonna be approved. And sure enough, it was. And it ends up on the box, and they actually made the sunglasses on the figure. Like the sunglasses weren't a part of the actual figure release initially, and then I drew the stupid sunglasses on them, and then they ended up making the sunglasses for the figure.
So can we just go full on 80s here and let me just say, dude.
Is it rad to the max?
It is rad to the max. I mean, come on, like the sunglasses, the colors. I love everything about this. If this was on the shelf and I was in Toys R Us, rest in peace, I would definitely pick this up. No joke.
Yeah, same with me, man. I would pick it up because I'd be like, what the hell is this thing? There's no way. And like the palm trees and stuff. But again, this plays into the idea of, I want to put my own preference and try to get away with some stuff when working on client work. And and again, like I'm not kind of discounting the privilege and the good fortune that I've had with working with clients that approve this kind of stuff. Like that is a really unique position to be in. And this is as much a credit to them as it is to me creating the artwork, because they're willing to go out on a limb and actually approve this stuff, which shouldn't be like, the creators of G.I. Joe back in the like whatever 50s would probably see this thing and go, what the hell are they doing over there? So we'll see.
Well, it just makes him more badass. I mean, honestly, look, he's that 80s guy. He's got the briefcase. He has, the flaming, is that a flaming dollar he had?
Yeah, he's like burning money. Like, I don't know.
That's awesome.
I don't know how he plays into his character or whatever, but man, it's like, that's hilarious. I'm all aboard. And it's like, I don't know if Destro drives around in a Lamborghini Countach or whatever, but you think this guy does.
Yeah, he does now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, man.
So I did notice, so this is one of the things that really peeked out to me was I noticed you did a cover for one of my favorite games. Not so much the game, but more so the actual expansion that came out. And I was pretty shocked, and so was my family when we saw this. So yeah, tell us about this one.
Yeah, I figured this is where you were going, DC. Yeah, man. Yeah, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, man. So back in 2000, I believe it was 2012, a guy named Dean Evans called me up, and he got my name from my buddy Jason Eisner, who is the director of a movie called Hobo with a Shotgun. And he is from my hometown of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I've known Jason for, 20 years or something. And him and Dean became friends because Dean loved Hobo with a Shotgun. Dean was the creative director, or a creative director, at Ubisoft in Montreal, and he said he was creating Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon based on all the 80s action movies that he loves. And Jason said, you need to get a hold of Signalnoise. You need to get a hold of James because he does all that kind of art. And Dean called me up and we hit it off. We immediately started talking about, Panthers and Uzis and ninjas and all these things that we grew up with. And then he's told me about this game that he was developing, and I was all in right from the first phone call. So Dean was great because he was great with his feedback, because he let me do basically whatever I wanted, because him and I were on the same page right from day one. And, he would write me back and say, like, okay, where you're going is great, but can we add a dinosaur in the background shooting lasers out of his eyes? And I'm like, you're damn right we can. So, and the first thing that we actually developed together was this. It was like a teaser poster that they put in. Yeah, when they released the first kind of the teaser cut, nobody even knew if the damn game was real, because Dean, the genius that he is, he released everything on April Fool's Day, so nobody knew if this was real because it didn't look like any other Far Cry thing that was out there. So in this one here in particular, my favorite email that I ever got from anyone was from Dean when I sent him this, and he said, "DC, are we allowed to curse on this?"
Yeah, why not?
Okay, just one. I'll just drop one profane word. I apologize to everybody, especially my parents, if they're tuning in. Dean wrote me an email when I sent him this composite, and he just wrote back and he goes, "More fucking lightning."
That's great.
Yeah, it was the best email I ever got. It was all caps with lots of exclamation points. So, and I was like, "You got more lightning, dude. That is awesome." So, and then we did this one, and then we moved right into doing the Michael Bain lead character. This is an 80s action movie poster. So if you look at anything designed by Drew Struzan or any of those guys, John Irvin, is that his name?
Yeah.
Any of these 80s movie poster artists, this is straight up inspired by them, / like B-movie VHS covers and that sort of thing. And, we had a great time doing this, and the character designs were already awesome. I mean, their team at Ubisoft knocked it out of the park. I loved all the character designs and everything. In the game, for all the Far Cry nerds here, like in the game, Rex Power Colt's eye is glowing red. It's supposed to be like a Terminator eye, but I had originally colored it pink. And Dean writes me back and he goes, "Yeah, it's off model, man. We got to put a red eye in there." And my response to Dean was, "Oh man, I love pink eye." and he said, like, he started laughing. He goes, "Yeah, all right, leave it with me." And then he wrote me back and goes like, "All right, the pink eye is back in," because apparently he said the same thing to the higher ups there, and they laughed. So they said, like, "All right, let him have his pink eye." So it continued to be off model, but super fun. So they hired me to do 3 posters, and this was a third one. And this is the outlier, because after I did the teaser poster and the official box art, there was just this extra poster that I think they had already paid me for it. So I said, like, all right, I'm going to do another poster, and I really want to do one with the motorcycle helmet dude, the villain. And Dean was like, "Yeah, man, go crazy." So I basically got no feedback on this one. I was allowed to do whatever I wanted, which was great. And it ended up, I don't know if I have an image of it in here. Oh, I don't, damn. This one ended up being reappropriated for the vinyl release of the soundtrack. So Power Glove did all the music for this, and they didn't have a cover design. So they got a hold of me and said, "Do you have anything?" And I said, "Yeah, that third poster wasn't used." So I just adapted this to the cover of the vinyl. So that was released. So it's kind of, it was super fun, man. It was super fun to do this. And it was like, this is the kind of job that comes along, I would say, like once in a lifetime. And it dictated the trajectory of my studio ever since, because there was work I did before Blood Dragon, and then there's work I did after. And there was a distinctive tonal change between the two. I was into 80s stuff before, but Dean really focused that, and I really jumped headfirst into this aesthetic, and it's kind of the world that I'm still running around in today. So it was really fun.
So you have let me see if I got this right. BBD before Blood Dragon?
I do. I suffer from serious, but I'm suffering in PBD, post Blood Dragon, right now.
Yes, yeah, and just to, so I just want to say this because I'm geeking out a little bit. So I was the guy, and also my stepson as well. We were both the guys that had seen the teaser image and for April Fool's Day, and we
Right.
were geeking out over your art. And I just want to go out on a limb here and say that that cover is what sold us on the game, and we by far love that game and that expansion over any other Far Cry that has come out since.
Nice. Well, I appreciate that feedback, man. Thank you very much. I'm glad that it sold a couple more units for Ubisoft.
Heck yeah, yeah, and we we live real close to Montreal, so we were excited that it was coming out of there. So
Nice. No, I appreciate
yeah.
that, man. Thank you very much.
So we did have an audience question we'll throw in real quick. What is your favorite studio that you have worked for,
Oh,
or
that I
your
worked for.
favorite piece of art from all your? Yes, that's what it's a little bit miscued there. Had a lot of coffee, but yeah. What's your favorite piece that you worked on?
The favorite piece that I worked on ever? Oh man, that's a big question. I'm gonna end up plucking something out of here. Boy, that is a big question. I think the piece that, I mean, the studio that I liked working for the most is definitely Ubisoft. What we just talked about, like that is definitely my number one, because that was super fun. But I think my favorite piece that I've done personally is probably the one I did for Muse. It's this one right here, because I think this one just and this is only from a personal level, right? I think this one executes a lot of the techniques and the aesthetic that I've been sort of pursuing for about 10 years. And, it's that Ira Glass thing, how when you're younger, your skills don't match your taste. There's a gap in between them. So you have to work to get your skills to match your taste, and then you can get down to business. And I feel like this one is an example of the skill that I wanted to have 10 years ago was to create something like this, but I just didn't know how to do it. So I think this piece sort of unlocked something in my trajectory, in my creative trajectory, and that would lead to something like the Destro piece. So you can see the same techniques being used in here. And another one in that same vein would be, bear with me here, I'm looking for that this other Metallica one that I brought up. So these are all the similar technique, and I think like as a grouping, all of those sort of work together. They're all big character pieces that are sort of close up, and this is the kind of work that I wanted to create 10 years ago, but I just didn't have the know-how to do it. So I would say that is those three, I guess, are sort of my favorites. But if you would have asked me that, well, if you would ask me that in 2 years, I'm sure I would give a different answer, whether that's something newer I created or something in the past as well. So, yeah. Thanks for the question, whoever asked that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that was from Heather Hertz. So going off of that, how did you get from A to B, right? How did you get from where you were dreaming about what you want to do to doing it?
Yeah, this is a big one. Let's go over to Behance for a second. So I'm just going to pop over to here, and I'm going to go right to the bottom of my Behance. I've been on Behance for a long time, so I got like quite an archive of older work here. Even as I'm scrolling, you can see the tonal changes, right? So when I started using Behance, this is the kind of stuff I was creating. Now this would have been, 2000 and early 2008, late 2007, early 2008 is when I was creating these things. And skulls, I was into heavy metal and I wanted to create stuff that like was badass or whatever. And the thing is, that's not it. The thing about this work, when I look back on it, is, this isn't me at all. Like, I'm not a brooding, like, listening to Nine Inch Nails every day and stuff. Like, that's not me at all. Like, I'm a walking cartoon character. I always have been. So this stuff doesn't really look like it pairs very well with me. So it was me trying a bunch of things, which was fine. So, but shortly after that, or actually related to it, would be this piece. or this stuff right here, I started doing generative artwork using Flash and making these shards, these lines. I was really inspired by Scott Hansen's work, ISO 50. He went on to be the mighty Tycho. And so I was inspired by him a lot. And I ended up doing this piece in particular. That was a play on the skull thing, but kind of incorporating some like, it's sort of 70s retro, but incorporating those shards in there to see what kind of an interesting design I could make. And the direct connection that I can make is right probably in here. So I took those same shards and I would start manipulating them and then adding full rainbow gradients over top of them. So you can slowly see that retro kind of 80s thing seeping into my work. And these would have been done in, I think, well, what was the last one? 2010? Yeah, so this would have been 2010.
Yeah.
And this one's for Abdezito, and you would see these sorts of things like Commodore 64. I was starting to dive back into my childhood. And, you know, my childhood in the 1980s is where I get the vast majority of my inspiration to this day. Like, you know, I tried to, it's one of those things like you should always like what you like without having the guilty pleasure label applied to it. Like, just like what you like. And back when I was in my early 20s, early to mid 20s, I thought that the stuff that I enjoyed, like He-Man and Transformers and that kind of stuff, like that stuff is stupid and people will think I'm a dork if I'm into that stuff. So I kind of would shy away from including that influence in my work until I got into my early 30s, believe it or not. And that's when I went like, screw it, man. Like, I'm just going to make the kind of work that I want to do. And that really kind of cut me loose from the shackles of what I thought was expected of me, and let me get into the area of making the work that I wanted to make. And not expecting anyone to care either is really liberating. You know, when I thought nobody was looking at me, I was just going to be in my apartment until 3 a.m, just tinkering around and making the kind of work that I want to create. Didn't think anybody was watching, but this ended up dictating the trajectory of my studio. So this is the sort of retro stuff that I would have been creating prior to Blood Dragon. And you'll see like the chrome type, like this stuff I was creating in 2009. There's the copyright, 2009 right here. So the 77 piece and awesome. Like this one, oh, this doesn't get any bigger. Wow, I got to re-upload those images. I made these on 600 pixels wide apparently. But, oh, and this is for Boing Boing. But see, a lot of these things, this is me trying to get that like VHS cover sort of aesthetic. And some was successful, some wasn't. But figuring out the architecture of chrome type as well. Like this is straight up inspired by the cover for Ride the Lightning, Metallica.
Yeah.
And, you know, and in the design field, I would upload this and people thought it was cheesy, right? I'm like inspired by Iron Maiden covers and stuff. And like, you know, at the time, 2009, 2010, people thought that was a joke. You know, people were like, that's a dork. You got to be buying like communication arts and all this. And it's like, that's fine. But, you know, I'm not a hardcore designer. I never have been. So, and it's strange to think back at that time period because things are so different now with aesthetic and exploration, and just having fun with artwork is something that I relish in. I always have. And it's really cool to see multiple generations of artists since 2010 diving into stuff because it's fun, because they want to create something that makes somebody smile or makes them throw up the metal horn hand signal. Like that's cool. That's a cool area to be in. And I see so many people, younger people, that are just making art that's fun and interesting and maybe thought provoking, but in a really kind of optimistic way. And that's really cool. And that just was very rare back in 2010. So I hope that kind of illustrates the connectors. As I go through the years here, you can see the retro kind of seeping in more and more. And then when we get up to Drive, this one was, maybe to answer Heather's question again, this is another one of my favorites because this is another image that I created that changed the trajectory of my studio. This was the first time I kind of buckled down. This was in the Mondo era of them selling out their posters and all that. And I wanted to be a part of that movie poster scene online. So I created this, and it was, we ended up getting it officially licensed by Film District. And it became the first alternative art movie poster for Drive. Like we beat Mondo to that poster, which was unheard of at the time in 2012. But it's another one that kind of changed the trajectory. So there's work I did before this, and then work I did after this. And this is when I really said, like, yeah, man, hot pink is dope. So then dove in. So
Yeah, that is quite an inspiring story, because you really you hit it right on the head. So you're liberated now, and I love that about what you said. It's when you get into, you know, trying to make stuff that you think others like, or doing stuff that's not you, it doesn't quite, in my opinion, it doesn't quite turn out as good as what you see now. I mean, on your screen, is you could see that that's you. I mean, this is a style that, and it looks like you're having fun, and it looks like you're free, and it's just it comes out in your work, and I think that you know, for most artists listening right now, that's definitely something that you should consider. Don't do things for whoever. Just do things for you, and then just have fun, and then it just makes the work way better.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And you know, I wish somebody had told me that. Well, I mean, I've always kind of done my own thing, but I've never done it publicly, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of my like cartoony drawings and, you know, illustrating Superman and stuff. Like a lot of that stuff would reside in my sketchbooks, and I would just never show anybody because, you know, out of you know, not so much embarrassment, but just like I never thought anybody would be into that, because, you know, when you meet hardcore typographers, you don't expect them to like look at your Thundercats drawing and think that's cool. So, you know, a lot of that stuff just resided in my sketchbook and never left. But I appreciate your review. Thank you, because I do feel like, you know, obviously all of us as artists have constant work to do on ourselves and our relationship with the world and our art and how that sits and what it says and all that stuff. That's a lifelong pursuit. But I appreciate your review, DC, because I do really feel like if I were to talk to myself when I was 25, you know, I didn't know who I was at all, you know, and through the pursuit of art and just not stopping, you kind of you untangle that knot as you go, and it takes decades, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a firm believer on you do you, and who cares what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, man, straight up.
I mean, I love all the stuff that you just said. So I love Thundercats, I love Transformers, I love He-Man, I love Ninja Turtles. That 80s is my years. 81, born.
Nice.
Went through almost all the 80s. I wish I had been born in 80, because then I could have done all of them. But yeah, 80s is my thing. And
Nice.
there's a lot of people that love 80s, and even if they're not born in 80s, they love. I mean, it came back, and this is why it came back, because of your art and art like yours. So
Thanks, man.
I'm excited. But to transition a little bit, so how did you get from doing art for Ubisoft and other studios into NFTs?
Right. Yeah, that's a question. So, big shout out to David at Known Origin, man, because he's been bothering me for years. That's not true. Well, he reached out to me a number of times, post I think 2018, and I didn't know what NFTs or crypto art was. I had no idea what. I'll just go over to my. Is this going to work? I might have to put in my password or something. One sec. See if I can do this. Oh, no, get out of here. Right, do I have my? What am I doing? Sorry, folks. I was going to bring up my saying. It doesn't matter. I'll show you later. So what happened was my friend Brendan Dawes, who's a big name in the crypto art scene, and I'm fortunate enough to call him my friend. I've known Brendan for about 10 years, and we know each other through the design circuit and speaking at conferences and things. And he got into releasing crypto art on Known Origin, and you know, it piqued the curiosity of me and my buddy Gav Strange, Jam Factory, and we're all friends. So we got on a call with Brendan and said basically like, explain this to us because we don't understand, we're stupid. And he the gentleman that he is, he explained what it is and how it works and what we should get signed up for and how to interact with people, audiences, collectors, that sort of thing. And that was basically like me and Gav were really enthusiastic about getting into the scene, and we started almost immediately, like setting up our accounts and trying to develop develop new work for these platforms, but also looking at our past work, because we have each of us, we have a giant library of stuff, like personal work that we've done. And up until that point, here's the thing about, going through the 2000s into 2010s or whatever. When you create a personal piece of work, you don't really earn money from that unless you print it on a damn t-shirt or you release posters or whatever, but that's not a sustainable amount of income. So a personal piece of art is basically relegated to advertising for your studio. You release a personal piece of work, you hope it gets circulated online, you hope a client sees it, and then they hire you to work on whatever project they may have. That's the life cycle of a freelance illustrator that deals in digital art. So up until that point, all of my personal work has just been promotion. But now, after being introduced to the NFT scene, all of a sudden that work has value, where people can actually purchase it and add it to their collections online without the need of printing and shipping and reduced costs as well. You can't charge very much for a poster, or nobody's going to be interested. So that was sort of the reasoning to get into the NFT scene. And I have to also, and I get into a little bit of this in the little thing that we're going to talk about later on, but I have to give a big shout out to some friends of mine, Matt Griffin, Griff Crypto is what he goes by, my buddy Jay, Genuine Human, Chris Skinner, and Gav Strange. We have a DM chat on Discord, private chat, and we basically call it, we joke and call it like a support group or whatever, because crypto comes with a lot of ups and downs, and I crashed around in around early October, kind of seeing when you release stuff in the crypto scene, when you see some things explode and then yours kind of don't, and they're sitting there for weeks and weeks, it affects your brain a little bit. And so I had to, we all helped each other out of this kind of ups and downs, and you kind of have to stay the course until you reach a little bit of an equilibrium and you understand the scene a little bit more and you understand yourself a little bit more. So not only did I learn a lot about the NFT scene, I learned a lot about the kind of thing that I wanted to create for that scene, because it's so different. And and it's really exciting and really interesting. And honestly, everybody here that's listening to this, I've never been involved in a scene that was so instantly supportive of not only me, but like everyone, like newcomers and veterans alike. It's been amazing. I've never seen that sort of onslaught or whatever through art, I mean, aside from maybe early Twitter days, and those days are gone. Like, Twitter's not the same thing now, but seeing everybody support everyone all the time is incredible. But one of the things, actually, I wanted to loop back and just say, one of the things that I sort of in the early days of me being into crypto art, which would have been in September, one of the things that I had a problem with, and maybe a little bit still to this day, is there's a really big focus on the monetary side of crypto art and not so much the art side of crypto art. And that's and it's something that I still have a hard time trying to delineate, where I'm more about the art. I always have been. I will always create art without the thought of monetary gain, especially if it's personal art. But seeing such a hyper focus on the currency of it and the value of it and these big drops and the upselling in the secondary market and whatever, it's hard to wrap your head around that when you're someone that's focused on just the creativity. I think that, when art takes a back seat to currency, that's problematic to me, and that's one of the things that I had a hard time trying to tune out, I guess, and not just with the scene, but with myself as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point you bring up. So everything, and this is me learning too. So I made some art around the same time as you. You said it was September, right? Yeah. So I've been making art and having fun, and it's interesting the cycles. So the cycles are always, they come into play, and it's catching those waves, right? And I think the art, so and I don't know if this makes you feel better, but I think that making your collection, and this is going back to what you said earlier, just do the art, don't stop, um, keep consistent, and I think that is huge, right?
Yeah.
But also you trying to figure out like what's your thing, because this is so new, it's so fresh, it's and a great community. I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
um, but we're still in this weird place where cryptocurrency and art kind of meets in this very strange way, and the whole idea behind value is something that's the centerpiece, like you said, and the art sometimes goes to the secondary. But there are those of us that actually reverse that and think that the art is actually the value versus the currency. And at some point, I mean, if you have money, at some point having money and numbers, you get bored with numbers real quick. But having art, especially art that you love, like having a piece like what you see, any of these pieces here, having that and owning it, and in a new, fresh digital way, that it's not going to be sitting at your house, collecting dust or getting destroyed in a move or something. It's there digitally, and then it's backed by blockchain technology, and having
Yeah.
it there forever, or trading it and to somebody else who loves the art too throughout the ages, right? Or even passing it down to your children, 100 years from now. Uh, it just, that to me, I think we're early, but that correlation of the coin and the art is still fresh, because there are flippers out there trying to make money. But I think that for some of us, the art is more important, and I think that and quote me maybe, but I think that's going to grow substantially when the trends and the cycles change. So right now we're on the FOMO coin cycle, and maybe back in September we are in the NFT cycle, and we felt it, right? All of us felt it. It was like the arcade high, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's for sure.
But now we're kind of trending towards the coin, crazy bull market stuff, and we're still in that weird place, but. It's you still see these big things in NFTs, and when the cycle changes, I think we're going to see that golden age again very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. The only thing I'd say is don't get discouraged, because there are those of us out there that love the art for the art.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that, dude. Yeah, yeah, and I wasn't throwing shade at anything involving the scene, because
No,
it
not
has,
at all.
yeah, and it's fascinating to see, and I appreciate everything you just said. Yeah, for sure. There was another part of it, that is super, optimistic, is that art and technology has always like kind of coexisted together, but the blockchain and Ethereum and all of these NFT websites, I call them galleries or platforms. It's so interesting to see technology like driving what is happening. So it's not just like uploading an image and then you sell that image and then somebody owns it. It can be manipulated into so many different things. It can be experimented with in so many different ways. That is like the most exciting thing about all of
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
because like you said, we're still early into this thing, and the idea. I mean, let's take Brendan Dawes for example. He's a generative artist. Like what a perfect platform for somebody like him who's interested in programming the numbers behind what the art ultimately is. And that's just one example. We see all of these. We have crypto voxels and sandbox and all these different things that are being experimented with all at the same time. It'll make your head spin, but man, it is so exciting to see the unlocking of or I guess the taking away of the barrier between technology and art is like, wow, well, what, we have no idea. That's a Pandora's box, man. Like, where is this going to lead? It's crazy.
well, it's leading us to artists like you. And that's the best thing about it. I mean, I would have never known, right? I would have never known that that back on whatever in 2013, on a April Fool's Day, that was your art piece for Blood Dragon, that just went crazy with our family here. I mean, we're sitting here, we're in rural Vermont, and we're picking it up from the internet. We're saying, "Oh, this is amazing," and I would have never known. And then now today, you're here, and I mean, we see you. I mean, we got amazing artists like yourself that are coming on the scene, and they're dropping these pieces that just stick in our heads. I mean, there's one of your pieces, and this is funny, and maybe others won't believe it, but one of your pieces, I spent probably 2 hours one day searching through Twitter until I found your account because I saw someone share it, and then I retweeted it, of course, because that's what I do. But I found your account, but it took me 2 hours, but I found it, and there was a reason I looked for 2 hours, because it's badass.
No, I appreciate that, man. Right on. Thank you for sticking with Twitter with the algorithms.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of stuff, and that's what keeps me coming every morning. I jump onto Twitter, I look for things that are cool, and I love seeing it. So,
Nice.
yeah, and maybe we should do a few questions before we do the secret thing.
Ooh, secret thing. Yeah, let's do questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and also like what you said about like finding people through Twitter or
Yeah.
like the crypto scene. I just wanted to give a shout out to like I don't even know how to set up for this, but like Deface, my man. I don't know if he's here or not, but he's one of my favorite people in the crypto scene right now. And I wouldn't have found his art if it wasn't for the crypto scene itself. Like I never would have seen his art. So yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out because like man, I'm constantly looking at his art and his output. Like man, this guy's stuff is dope. Like I never would have found it if it wasn't for the scene. So yeah, man.
Oh man, that's awesome. See, I love this. It's the community that makes it, and we're so early. We're so early.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a few questions from the audience. We have Nightmare. I think I'm saying this right. It's NYT Mare, but it is Nightmare for sure. Any cool progressive AR or VR integrations of 80s goodness planned for future projects?
Oh man, well, let's go down to Vegas Rising. This was actually a VR thing that I did for the promotion of the city of Las Vegas, and it was in partnership with a company called R&R in Vegas, and they hired me to do a whole bunch of assets, and basically they would create a world in the virtual reality space as part of an art installation that they toured around to a bunch of different cities. It was over in London. It was, and we went to the big opening in Miami and everything. And they let me do whatever I wanted. I came up with an idea, like sort of a rough treatment to whatever. And I did all of these assets and they rendered all these damn things in the VR space. And so you can actually walk around inside of that. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm going to turn this off if it's going to be audio based. There we go. So yeah, you can actually see this thing. Can I move it around too? Oh yeah, I can. So I'll just go down here. So this is this is VR, so I don't know if it's gonna like work or not properly, but oh yeah, here we go. And you can actually,
man.
Yeah, you can actually, okay, we're going full screen apparently. But yeah, and you're walking around inside this thing and you can imagine if you had like your VR glasses on, there are these mirrors that you're kind of looking in that spin around so you can see things that are behind you and in front of you. My wireframe palm trees are in everything that I do, and the city sort of grows around you. And yeah, it's super crazy. This one here, like the big boat, and it had shooting cannons and stuff. And I got my Stay Rad little logo thing in there. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, that was my favorite part, doing that damn pyramid hotel in Vegas, whatever it's called, the whatever.
Oh, the MGM, yeah.
Yeah, that one, yeah. So that's in there, and it was a whole bunch of different stuff. Like yeah, there's the Eiffel Tower. So a ramp comes underneath you and kind of lifts you up. So it's going up. Man, my computer fan is going crazy with this.
I could hear it.
Yeah, it's wild. And they let me go crazy with my color palette and stuff. So you can see all of those color palettes that are so prevalent in my artwork. And they did it all. Like, should the ramp be perspective? And you're on the back of a motorcycle, so you drive, a ramp goes up, woo, and you're going over top of a hot air balloon. If you look down, it's my logo. Yay! And that's the Vegas Rising. The word mark comes in, and that's the end of it.
Wow.
So it's a Signalnoise VR experience, and then you get hit by a plane. So
That's awesome. That is so
So yeah,
awesome.
to answer your question, yeah, and it was a super fun and very weird project to be a part of. But man, I was all about it. It was super fun, and the people at R&R were brilliant to work with. It was super great.
All right, we have another question. Um, from I am so bad with names. That's like that's my kryptonite, really. I could barely pronounce my own, honestly. So Arona, I'm pretty sure that's right. She asks, were the poster designs advertising Metallica's Canadian tour in 17 and 18 the only
Oh,
project you did for the band, or did you do some more?
I only did the two. So the one I showed earlier and this one right here, which is the same character, this kind of helmeted horn skull guy, because this isn't part of the Metallica canon or whatever. So I had to just create this character. So that's the only two that I did. Yeah. So this is the 2017 one. The other one was 2018. So, and if you look at both of them here, if you look at that one and look at this one here, they're the same character. I came up with a name for him too, but yeah. And this guy is totally a design that I want to use in other stuff, because I really like this kind of just tank of a skull Viking or whatever the hell he's supposed to be. But yeah, those are the only two Metallica things that I did. Yeah, were those two.
I would love to have an action figure like that.
Oh man, you and me both.
So last question, and then we gotta go into the super secret thing. So last question from Heather Hertz was, what was the most challenging project or client that you've ever worked with, and why?
Oh man, that is a good question. The most challenging. Let me just flick through here and see. The thing is, like, I think the most challenging for me would be like anything to do with screen print. Like, obviously, like I love using all the colors. So anything involving screen print where a client says, like, you know, you can only use 5 colors or something like that, like these, for example. You know, I find that really, really challenging. And it's this, maybe not this one specifically is my most challenging one, but I have a really hard time trying to limit myself to only a couple of colors. And there's obviously creativity within boundaries, that whole thing. But I have a hard time doing that because I think my true power or whatever lies in full spectrum, like not having to worry about how is this lens flare going to translate to ink being dropped through a screen, you know? So that would definitely be in that. And to this day, I struggle with screen printed stuff where I have to limit myself to a certain amount of colors. There are people that can take 4 colors and make outstanding work, and that is some kind of voodoo that I have never quite gotten my head around. So yeah, I think that would be the most challenging. Limiting myself to a few colors, just like, oh, terrifying.
Yeah, that is terrifying. When I do stuff, I probably spend way too much time on just changing the colors, like 100 to 1,000 times.
Yeah, totally, right. Like, and I had this one here. Like, I approached a screen printer to do this one, the Drive poster, and he opened it and had one look and just went, nah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I think that poster is actually better than the one they used.
Oh, you mean the one of Ryan Gosling standing in the middle of the road looking bored?
Yeah, and I love that movie too, but I'll tell you, I would have loved it even more if it had that poster.
Hey, I appreciate your endorsement, man. Thank you.
My opinion is free.
Nice.
All right, so we're getting close to an hour, but I don't want to downplay this next thing. So let's get to the super secret thing.
All right, now I got to change my screen here. So bear with me, everybody. Change windows. Going to do this carefully. Make sure I do it right. Go live.
Oh man,
right.
we just killed it. We killed it with those settings.
Are we technological geniuses now? Is that
we
what we're
are? Called? It's like some of us work in IT, you know.
Oh man! All right. So like, Bill Gates, we're coming for you, man.
Yes, we are.
All right, cool. So I'm glad you guys can see this, and you know, again, DC, thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you everybody for tuning in, because I've been like really excited and really nervous to share this news with everybody here. I haven't released any of this online, so you guys got the first scoop. You guys are like the Daily Planet. So yeah, I'm just going to dive right into it. So we talked about some of the releases that I did in the crypto scene earlier, and this is a bunch of them from Known Origin. I released a few on Maker's Place, all of which, or as a whole, like I had a moderate response to these. And if there's anybody here that purchased any of my NFTs, thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. So, like we talked about earlier, DC, how I felt kind of a crash, a low point in September, and it was everything to do with. I felt that the stuff I was releasing, despite really enjoying what I was doing, I felt like I was pandering a bit to my existing audience and trying to develop stuff that I hoped collectors would like, which is sort of the opposite of what creativity is. So I was at a low point, and I was talking to my friend Brendan Dawes, and he sent me a video of David Bowie, and this quote was in it: "Don't play to the gallery," which unlocked something in me. Like, that is exactly what I was doing. I was trying to play to the gallery, and you should be creating stuff that you want to create from your heart, rather than trying to develop something that you hope somebody will like or buy. So it should come from within you. So this really unlocked a lot, and I got to thank Brendan for that a lot. So I started, after he sent me this, I started thinking about, what do I want to create? What means a lot to me, and what do I want Signalnoise to be, quote unquote, known for, if anything, in the creative space? So I went obviously right back to my childhood, 1980s, where I find all my inspiration, and I landed on my favorite franchise of all time, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It was my favorite cartoon growing up. It's my favorite franchise and mythology to this day. But most importantly, it's my favorite toy line. It's my favorite toys, and that is going to be the inspiration. I thought, I'm going to create, since it's a technological platform, this crypto art, I'm going to create digital action figures. That sounds like an idea. So I got to work. Digital action figures. And I called this thing the Nukes. I had to come up with a really fun, like kind of 80s inspired name for these action figures. And I thought Signalnoise Nukes, because that sounds really awesome and really dumb, and I love it. So let's get to work. Every project that I start with begins in the sketchbook. So I started creating some characters inspired by stuff I grew up with, like Conan and Jack Kirby stuff, some Mandalorian, RoboCop, wrestling, all that sort of stuff went into the inspiration in the designs of these things. And I pushed some of them to some vectors to flesh out sort of the characters, like their details and their colors and whatnot. But I want to concentrate on this guy. This guy's name is the Neon Reaper. And so pushing him to vector, and I got it to this point. And this is like what the Nukes were intended to be. This is in Photoshop, and I rendered it and I added shading and stuff, and I thought, this is going to be what my action figures look like. And I was sitting late at night staring at this thing on the screen, and I thought, it's just not good enough. It's not what I intend, because if I'm going to make digital action figures, I want them to look like action figures, not an illustrated version of something in Photoshop, because it just doesn't look real enough. So I started learning 3D. On October 1st last year, I didn't know how to do Blender. And by the end of October, I had enough knowledge to start building an actual digital action figure. So I got to work, and I built a prototype body that you can see right here. Hopefully these will play. Yeah, I'm gonna have to click them manually, but whatever. So this was my first Nukes NFT that I released. And just bear with me there. There we go. So this is what was on Known Origin. And I released, there we go. And I released these because my wife saw me working on the prototype body, and she said, that looks pretty cool. Why don't you offer that and see if there's any interest? And it was a great testing ground, because I released 10 of these and they sold out, which was amazing. And if there's anybody here that purchased one of these, again, thank you very much for your support. Really do appreciate that. And that set me up to dive right back into this. So I took my Neon Reaper design and I started working that up in 3D. And adding all these shapes. And I got to give a shout out to my buddy Basil Murad, Bloody Chrome. His advice was invaluable when I was working my way through Blender. He's an absolute wizard, and he helped me out a lot with his tips and tricks along the way. So a big shout out to Baz. And got this thing, got the colors, got the effects, and ended up getting to a final right here, which is the Neon Reaper. And again, I offered this on Known Origin. I think I released 15 of them, and I sold about 50% of them. So not all, but 50%, which was a mild success. And once again, if anybody here picked one up, I really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. And there's still some of these digital action figures left. So if you're interested, pop over to my Known Origin. So I had a few of these lined up as subsequent releases from the Neon Reaper. So I had these three guys and this guy named Rand Damage, who is influenced by a certain 90s wrestler that I'm sure everybody can point out. I started developing him in 3D, which was super fun. And as an aside, this is another project called Starcade. It's a physical card game that I'm building with my wife and our friends Jack and Lucas. And it has a bunch of fighters involved in it, and all of these characters are characters that I created, that I designed, that I named and wrote backstories for. So there's no end to the number of characters I can create as digital action figures in the Nukes line, because all of these characters are my own. And in the game, they're all based on characters that I created when I was a little kid. So in 1987, I created this character called Flash of Lightning, and 32 years later, or whatever that math is, he's still with me and I'm still illustrating him. So all of these characters have their roots in my childhood, and I still have all the original drawings of them and stuff. So here's some of the final card art that's going to appear in this game. The reason I wanted to show this was, again, because there's no real limit on the amount of characters that I can put into this Nukes line, which is super fun. So let's get back to this guy. Oh, crap. Sorry, there we go. So just over Christmas, I'm looking at this guy and looking at the 3D model, the rotation, and again, those words hit me. This is not good enough, and I'm not a masochist or anything like that, but, I expect a certain outcome when I start a project, and the idea of this project just wasn't landing right with me. So I had to figure that out. I had to do a lot of thinking about it, because if I handed 5-year-old James an iPad with a picture like that 3D rotation of the Neon Reaper, he wouldn't be impressed. He just wouldn't. And I know why. Because it's not real. It's not a real action figure. It's a digital action figure. So over the Christmas break, I mocked this up. And I walked into the room where my wife was sitting and I said, I made the decision. I have to make action figures. I have to make real action figures. And that was the only way because my lifelong dream has been to create my own action figure, and I just never had the time or the resources to do it. But crypto art, the amount of Ethereum that people invested in my previous work gave me a little bit of income to work with, where I could possibly fund my own action figure. So I started looking into it like when the new year hit, and I already got a prototype package design. The blister is temporary. That's from another action figure. So I already got the prototype printed and sent to me to see how it's going to work and how the figure would fit inside of it. Now, upper left-hand corner, because I know people are looking at it. Yes, I spelled Ethereum wrong. I have a new prototype on the way and I'm going to correct it. But I do want to bring your attention to that upper corner. And I'm very proud of this part. This line of Nukes action figures, or the action figure that I'm creating, is powered by Ethereum, because all of the resources needed, the money needed to put up front in order to develop the packaging, in order to develop the actual action figure, all comes from Ethereum. It all comes from the amount that people invested in my previous crypto art things. That is where all of that is coming from. And the bump in Ethereum's value over the past couple of months has really made this possible. So once again, thank you to everybody who invested in those crypto art pieces, because that is the resource that I needed to unlock, this sounds weighty, to unlock this lifelong dream of making my own action figure. And this is sort of what we're looking at right now. So in the future, when these are available, they will be for sale through the crypto art scene. They'll be available through Known Origin, where we're going to iron out a lot of these kinks, by the way, but you purchase an NFT, we capture your shipping address, and then we ship you the physical, real action figure in more or less what it looks like right here. Which is something that, and again, big shout out to Known Origin. We had a few meetings on this, and we're all really excited about it to get this thing going. And we got some other surprises and stuff to announce over the course of February, which is going to be really, really fun. I got to give a big shout out to my man Evan Morgan. Evan is the toy maker. These are going to be resin figures. They're going to be handmade. We're doing 50 of them. They're going to be handmade, hand painted, And he's an absolute wizard, and I urge you to check out his work. Instagram.com/EvanMorganDesign. He's an absolute wizard when it comes to toy making, and the fact that he's a singular person making these toys. I'm a singular designer, so this is truly independent in every sense of the word. And we both are on the same page in terms of quality. We want these things to be done right before they're done quick, and we're really focusing on all those details. So big shout out to Evan Morgan. And this is what my hands are trembling right now, DC, because not 3 hours, I didn't even show you this, not 3 hours before this talk started, he sent me an actual 3D print, the first print of my Neon Reaper in real life, right? And I teared up when he sent me this image because I've never seen a physical representation of any of my characters in my life. And I've been creating characters since I was like 5 years old. So this is a very big deal. This is right off of the 3D press. It's like pre-cleanup and everything like that. And these things are going to be full color. He's going to make the mold and casting things in resin. And, he's looking into, what's it called? Oil slick, rainbow iridescent paints and all this other stuff, like to really make this thing sing. So that was really fun. And this is what we're looking at right now. Now this comes with a caveat. Pre-sale in March, subject to change, is only because both Evan and I don't know what hiccups might happen in the production of these things. So we just want to say the pre-sale will be happening in March. That's when the NFTs will be for sale. And then once we have, I'm going to be delivered the figures in batches and then shipped out. So that's what we're looking at right now. And so all during February, I'm going to be announcing sort of like all of the process stuff and basically keeping everybody up to speed as we go. And you can follow me on all of these different things. And this is where I'll be posting the news. So Twitter, it's a nice Discord handle I got there, huh? Really rolls off the tongue, easily memorable. And my YouTube channel is where I'll be announcing I'm posting some videos on the process too, which is going to be super fun. And I just wanted to put this screen in here because this is it's a screenshot of how the nukes fits in with what I call the Signalnoise universe. That's a hoity-toity name, but it all sort of does work together. And so the Signalnoise nukes runs alongside my art zines called Off the Grid that are in my store, issue 1 and 2, that run alongside Starcade, and they all kind of work with the Signalnoise broadcast. So, which is my YouTube channel, and all of this stuff mingles together with the Signalnoise universe is what I'm trying to build, and I'm trying to incorporate all of the things that influenced me growing up. And an action figure is sort of the crown jewel of that. And I could never have done it without the crypto art scene, without this community. So anybody again who picked up my crypto art, thank you so much, because this has enabled me to do this and kind of fulfill this dream. So thank you very much, Whale. That's all. That's the presentation, dude. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to sort of announce this stuff on your channel. On your server. I really appreciate it.
Wow. I just need a second here. So this entire presentation, I'm sitting here, my mouth's just wide open. It's dry now. I need to get some water, but wow. I mean, everyone in chat, I'm just watching the chat when you were talking. Everyone in chat is stunned. I mean, we've all gone full fanboy or girl. Even some of us that never go it, right? It's just like this is clean. This is super clean. I know some of my real life friends are actually in the chat right now, and they want some. Also born in the 80s. Shout out Grev. But look at this. This figure is clean. Iridescent paint. Wow. I mean, the hype is real. We got over 150 people here right now.
Whoa, holy smoke, everybody. Thank you so much for dropping in. And, and everybody, I can't see the chat because I have this thing full screen or whatever. And if thank you for showing excitement for this, because I was scared to death to reveal this, because I've been working on it for, all month, and got it to a point where I'm like, I don't even know if anybody's going to care about this thing. So thank you. I really do appreciate it. And, kind of, I'm getting a little bit teared up right now.
Well, prediction. We're going to see another all-time ETH high because of this announcement.
And it's because of damn nerdy action figures. I'll take it.
You're damn right it is. It's 100% true. So, man, we're so excited about this. Some people were asking about, okay, so March's tentative date. We're excited. Any ideas on what the initial price is for the initial one? I'll start with that, and then we'll go to the next question.
Right. Yeah, pricing is something that it's really hard these days to pinpoint a price when Ethereum is so
volatile,
crazy, right? So, I mean, I don't want to say any prices because I can't be quoted on it because I don't know what Ethereum is going to look like in March. So I will say this. Okay, for the 50 that are going to be released, I'm going to aim to have these things affordable in some way, because I don't want these things to be like, only the Winklevoss twins can afford them. Like, it's not going to be it's not going to be that. It's going to be affordable because I want to get this into the hands of people that want them, and so it won't be exorbitant at all. But there's also, and this is something that we're ironing out right now, there will be a one of one Neon Reaper as well, and we're going to do something really special for that figure, and that figure will be open to bid. So anybody that wants that one can go after it that way. And but the static or the standard version, which is the version that you see here, this one will be available in 50 units. But yeah, I'm not sure if I can pinpoint that price just yet, because I just don't know where Ethereum is going to be. So I'm watching it closely, and I'm going to try to get this thing as affordable as possible, because like I said, I want this in people's hands more than anything. So
that's awesome.
Thank you for that question. I knew it was going to be coming, and I'm just not sure what it's going to be, and that's why I kind of pixeled out the the price on here.
Well, that's perfect, because whenever you have that question, that there is a high level of interest. So the 50 has me scared personally, because when I go on these drops, it doesn't quite work out very well usually, because everyone's on it. But yeah, this is huge. Is this the first character? Or sorry, is this the first? Is there like a first series of characters, or are you just going with Neon Reaper as one, or is there like this is generation one with a series? And I think you showed that earlier with the designs, but I just want you to answer that.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you for that question. Because that's ideally, like, when I release this, that's going to be a huge testing of the waters as to whether or not I can do a subsequent release. So I'm doing this one right now. This will be the first one. It'll be a singular release for now, but you bet your ass that, if this thing is a success and I manage to move the vast majority of them, I'll be starting straight away on a follow-up release on the next Nukes action figure. So 100%. That is the goal, because I love action figures. I still collect He-Man figures, and scale. They're going to be comparable to two He-Man figures. They're going to be 5.5 inches tall. So you can stand them next to your Skeletor figure. He's obviously inspired by Skeletor and Casey Jones and all these other characters. So that's how big it's going to be. But I hope that this is the first of many, and it's good. And it's going to depend on the how the reaction is online. Yeah, for sure.
Well, everybody, you heard it here first. There will be a series of characters. So, are you thinking about? I mean, this is just thoughts. So, tying it in, so tie-ins to games, tie-ins to other things. You having the NFT, will that get you something in the metaverse?
Good question, man. I did kind of consider making him like a playable avatar, like a wearable sort of thing. I think that would be really fun. I've only done a tiny bit of research into how all of that sort of works. So I would love to be kind of involved in something like that, perhaps. time is the only villain, isn't it? So it's about
Yes.
finding the time to build something that I can do, that I'm happy with, that can be experienced in other places. However, this guy, like I said, like I showed that screen at the end, he is like the Nukes action figure, the Neon Reaper, will be a playable character in my Starcade card game, or in our Starcade card game. So, he will be. These two universes definitely bleed over, and like I said, this is the Signalnoise universe kind of thing. Again, I feel weird saying that, but that is how I see all of this, and it's all part of the same thing. So he will be a playable character as a fighter in the Starcade universe. So he will have a life outside of the blister pack in that way.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that card game, and I know one of my buddies is here. We both love those type of things.
Nice.
One, accessories. Are you thinking about maybe adding some little accessories for these guys?
Oh man, yeah, I love these questions. This is so great. This guy, I haven't talked to Evan about it yet. If he's watching this, I don't know, but he does the Neon Reaper, and I have drawn him with this accessory. He has, number one, he drives a Ducati like black motorcycle, and the tires are like green flames, something like Ghost Rider's bike from the 90s. It's something like that, and that's what he rides. But his accessory is a laser scythe that he kind of straps onto his back, and it's like, or sickle, or whatever they call those things, or whatever the Grim Reaper has. It's like that big, but the blade is like green energy, and it's like lights up like a laser. So I would love to include that. How the hell I'd package that, I have no idea, but I would love to have that accessory in there, because yeah, that'd be super fun.
This is crazy. Everybody is excited.
Nice.
Everyone's excited in the chat.
I appreciate that, gang. Right on. I'm going to try to make this as fun as possible. And like I said, all of these, I'll put these links back up. Like I'm from this point on, now that I can release stuff, Evan's working on the characters now. He's working on the toy. He's doing the mold and stuff. And I'm sure I'll be getting updates from him, so I can post, where we are exactly with the production of this. And it's going to be super fun. And I'll be getting a prototype at some point to sign off on or whatever. And I'll do a live unboxing thing with that, so everybody can see the Evan's work. And we're both Evan and I are really excited about this. So yeah, follow me on these here things if you want to see the updates, and keep up to date on leading up to launch stuff and whatever, because there's other stuff planned that I haven't been able to reveal in this that'll be super fun. So I appreciate the excitement, everyone. Thank you so much. I really do.
Man, this is awesome. I mean, so we didn't get to cover all that I wanted to cover, but because I do have some fanboy interest in your album covers for FM84 and whatnot. But I will say we have to have you back on, because I want to go over those, and I want to see. This is a plead, really. I want to see this before it launches, because I mean, honestly, it's pretty awesome, and I want to know exactly when it happens, because if I miss out on these drops, like I've missed out on every drop that I've been involved in, I'm going to be pretty upset.
Oh man. Well, how about I'm number one, DC, I'm totally down with hanging out with you guys again. This was super fun. And number two, why don't we do so? I don't want to put any words in your mouth or scheduling or whatever, but I'd be totally down with doing another one of these before this thing goes live. If you want to get an update on how it goes, I can put together another little presentation to show, because this is a huge learning experience for me. This is all new, and if I can keep everybody up to date, I will definitely do that. So yeah, man, anytime.
We would love it. The community would love it. I would love it, selfishly, but yeah, this has been fantastic. I know everyone has had a great time. We went over, which is, when we go over, it's always pretty badass.
Nice.
So, man, I hope, can you throw that screen up with all of your socials again, and
sure.
we'll make sure that we we throw that in the chat as well. Everybody, please go to Twitter, to Discord, to YouTube. Get involved, subscribe. It's very important because nobody wants to miss out on this drop. Also, I mean, killer art, right? Anything known origin, get in there and see what's going on here, because this is huge. This is huge for our space, and to have a action figure come to my house that I could hang on to, that is awesome. Like, come on.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. And this is, as I said earlier, this is a lifelong dream for me. I've always wanted to have my own action figure, and it is being enabled by everybody in the crypto scene that supported me. So it's all, as I said, I got to put this up here again. This whole thing is powered by Ethereum, and that's everybody that supported the crypto art that I put out so far. So thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for the excitement. I truly appreciate it. Didn't know what to expect, and it's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, we're so happy. It is a pleasure. It is our pleasure. We can't wait till you come back. Please stay in the server. Please have fun with us. We'll see you next time. This is a tentative date.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you again for everything, DC. This has been super fun, man.
All right, it's our pleasure. All right, you have a good day. I'm gonna go back to work. I've been playing hooky with these meetings, so I'm headed back.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, bye.
Yeah, see ya.